What's up, guys? Welcome back to the That's So Dev podcast. My name is Dev. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you guys. You know we got some tea to get into. But before we get into this tea, make sure you go ahead and follow me at That's So Dev on Twitter, Instagram, and literally everywhere else. We got some tea to get into, y'all. Okay, so I had a lot of fun watching the episode yesterday, to be completely honest. It's getting real, to be honest with you. And what I mean by that, obviously, we all know the drama that went down between Snooki and Angelina. But, look, I have a lot of questions about this drama, right? And I'm going to start off here. As usual, we're going to start off with the drama, and we'll just talk about the rest of the episode after, because I just want to get this shit out the way. Because I'm so tired of talking about the drama with Angelina. But anyway, now look, I see a lot of people tweeting, it's getting hard to watch this. You know, they're making it a point to go out of their way to, you know, bully Angelina, corner her, or berate her, and blah, 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 blah. And look, when it comes to these situations, you're always going to have somebody who's on somebody's side. And that's fine. You know, I want to see all the cast members win. That's tea. However, it's just so insane to me, after everything that Angelina has done and has been doing, that people find any opportunity to dismiss her behavior. People would like to call out others' behavior while not calling out her own. Angelina is literally in the middle of an argument with Snooki right now over a man that's not her own. Hello? Pick up the phone. The call is coming from the fucking house. Yours, bitch. Be for real. She is, and that's the thing that's fucking sending me. I was cracking up last night watching the episode. I'm like, all of this is not even over her man that gave her a fucking ring. She's engaged. What do you mean? All of this drama with Nicole is over the fact that Snooki was telling Angelina, and look, hold on, before I get into that very quickly, let me go ahead and say, because the way that Snooki described how she was saying things, I think she doesn't realize how she said some of those things, and it was not as cool, calm, and collected as she's portraying it while not being drunk. That's what I would say. I even called it out at the time. I said, time and a place, blah, blah, blah. But I also understood the things that happened prior that maybe led up to a person being like, you know what, bump this shit. You know what I mean? I just think the irritation was coming to the front, and I feel like she did so good for a while with, you know, Angelina even trying to make that moment inside the car more of, you know, hey, this is a me, you know, I'm in the center type moment, when the moment in the van was really about Snooki and her journey. We've talked about Angelina, her journey. We've opened up the floor to her. We've given her space respectfully. And I don't feel like in the van that she did that same thing to Nicole. And so when that irritation came out, I was like, okay, this makes sense. You know what I mean? I can't blame her for this, although we could say, you're right, time and a place. Maybe this shouldn't have happened here, blah, 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 blah. Because it started off with Snooki really saying she's married, and obviously as she's making these points, she's obviously irritated, right? She's kind of going out of her way to show that irritation. Which, again, whatever, after what happened in that fucking van, I said, girl, you know what? Do what you're gonna do. Because I feel like she's put up with enough and has dealt with that in much better ways than she has in the past. So I definitely commend her for combating the chaotic energy. But it did come out at that game way more than she is probably being truthful about, or maybe that I don't know if she maybe doesn't remember all of that. But anywho, so all of this is over the fact that Snooki's best friend Joey had a friend who dated the man that Angelina has some interest in at the game. Which, look, again, I said it and I tweeted it before. I said they're cute together. But, and Jenny made a good point too. It would be cute if you weren't engaged. You know what I mean? And even that wasn't taken horribly by Angelina, because she obviously knew that was the truth. She is engaged, and it would be cute if she wasn't engaged. The message that Jenny was sending off of that didn't have any irritation behind it, but nothing happened to Jenny in the van for the irritation to be there. So, obviously saying all of this stuff because without the context, I just feel like people don't entirely see the entire story of things that happen. People just really see the end result of things that happen on this show. And it's like there's so many different things that happen that you have to pay attention to that's going to, cause something to blow up under the surface over here. You know what I mean? Like, this whole situation with Snooki and Angelina, it's going to go on for a minute. I think it's going to go on for a minute. I don't know how long. It could be 2-3 episodes, to be honest, but I could see it being over the next 3 episodes and this blowing up within the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. Genuinely, I can see this really coming to a head because, the way that they handled the situation, it just left so many things under the surface to where the next vacation, or even the little next episode of the piece of it that Jenny's throwing, I just don't see these things being resolved so soon. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work like that. But anywho, getting back to the whole point that this started, because now look how dumb this sounds, right? Let's say we don't know these people at all. So this girl told me that her best friend knew somebody else who was a good friend of theirs that was with that man. And they said that that man isn't very nice, or isn't very blah, 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 blah. So it's literally he says, she says, she said. Like, she said, he said, she said. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. Like, logically think about that. If somebody, look, and I gotta be honest, if that came out of somebody's mouth to me, I'm like, look, I would have raised my eyebrow a little bit for 2 reasons. A, okay, this is information for me to consider now, right? Because I don't really know this person. But now I got a little something to chew on. But just because your friend that has a friend that knew him said something, don't mean shit. Because I don't know who that friend is. Is that friend lying to Joey? I don't know. Is that person the problem that speaks to Joey? I don't know. Do I know that Joey carries dramatics? Yes, I do. Could it be over-exaggerated? Maybe. Who knows? So there are so many different things that can play here to where, honestly, I would have just been like, honestly, thank you for letting me know. I'm probably going to end up finding out for myself, but I wouldn't have said finding out for myself. I probably wouldn't even be in the position if I was engaged to somebody else. But, that's just me. Anywho. But yeah, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because Snooki is saying something doesn't mean you have to necessarily, like, take it in. You don't. Because at the end of the day, Snooki didn't have this experience, and neither did Joey. So they don't know this guy. It's just he said, she said at this point. So, okay, whatever. Thank you for letting me know. Move on with it. It has nothing to do with me. I'm going to find out for myself. Okay? Because there are several different things, like, even in the context where we're like, okay, well, he said that she said that she said that Snooki is supposedly not a good mother because, the kids at the school, blah, 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 know about her being on Jersey Shore, so we don't feel comfortable with our kids hanging out with those kids. Like, could you imagine? I'm using that in quotations. I'm not saying that myself. I'm using that as an example. Could you imagine if the he said, she said was listened to from the opposing end? We really just watched them having mother conversation about, being moms and, not really letting public opinion or whatever kind of get in the way of who they really are. And I just feel like that's something to chew on here. I'm just saying, you don't want to hear about opinions of you yourself through other people who don't actually know you, because they've never actually hung around you. They've never seen you mother now. You're a fantastic mother. Your drinking is really done only on family vacations, which aren't like every day like people think that it is, because it's under the brand Jersey Shore. You know what I mean? So when it even comes to another person or another situation, okay, Miss Angelina, they don't know him. Okay? You don't have to take the public opinion about it. There's always going to be a public opinion about it. You're going to have to figure that shit out for yourself. Anyhow, y'all, it's a hot ass mess. We know that. Okay? And what I keep coming back to, right? And I have a lot of things to say, obviously, but I keep coming back to the point that this is not, Angelina's man. Like, they're having a scream out match about how, Angelina, you won't make me inferior. You won't make me leave the show again. And all of this over somebody who's literally not her man. Like, Angelina, you're going to bat over a man that's not your man. I don't even think I've seen you go to bat like this for Vinny 2.0. So I have to question things. Anyhow, again, just saying, girl, look, I just found it also interesting that Snooki said, you made me leave the show. I'm not going to let you do that again. Snooki, you left because it was overwhelming due to Angelina's drama. Angelina didn't make you leave. You made the decision to leave because you are an adult. So you decided to protect your peace in the moment. Angelina didn't make you leave. You made that decision on your own. And while at that time, it may have seemed great, it was awful. But you didn't have to leave. That was your own doing. You really can't blame that on Angelina per se, even though you leaving was a result of the mess. Now look, the mess at that time, I'm not even going to get into it, because the whole wedding situation is going to bring up another topic and a whole nother batch of feelings. And I didn't entirely believe that Angelina was in the wrong for that. Right? I felt like even Nicole leaving was really over dramatic. Because at the end of the day, there was a lot for everybody to take in for that day. There were a lot of things that required accountability that I don't feel at that time that accountability was taken for those things. That is just me. Everybody's going to have a different opinion on the whole wedding thing. Anywho, moving on, because I am not getting into that wedding. I refuse. That time was chaotic as hell. But one thing that we obviously know is consistent is the chaos. Sammy pointed it out last night. Why is it that you're having a problem with Sam? You're having a problem with Mike. You've had a problem with Vinny. You've had a problem with Paulie. You had a problem with Nikki. You've had a problem with Lauren. You had a problem with Dina, Snooki. You've had a problem, and I mean a very intense problem, with everybody at the table, including Vinny 2.0. Even a little scuffle with Ron. You have been the common denominator to a lot of issues. And for somebody being Nicole, to find her way out of the drunken mess that she is right now, to find real words to say to you right now, and she was saying some real stuff. You haven't been a good friend and blah, 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 blah. Look at the track record. You haven't been to them. You haven't had respect for their time. You're upstairs on the phone talking to a psychic about a man that you're not engaged to, while holding everybody up to get to the airport and essentially almost making people late to the airport because they all have flights. And you know how airports are, especially Las Vegas. Are you insane? I had a friend who showed up an hour early and still missed her flight because she didn't get checked in time. That's having no respect for people's time. It wasn't like the cameras was gonna not be rolling anymore. You had time to call the psychic. Oh my god, like I cracked the fuck up. I was like, oh my god, this girl is really upstairs on the phone talking to a psychic about a man that she's not engaged to. Like, she got a rock from another fucking man. And she's like, the psychic asks, okay, are you in Vinny 2.0? Still engaged? Well, we're back and forth. Oh, hell no. If you are back and forth with the man while you're engaged, bitch, take the ring off. If you are at a little flag football game and a man throwing a football up to you has you literally grinding your gears, girl, we need to have a discussion. It's time to take that ring off and leave that man in the past. I need to see what life is without you. And it's going to open up a whole new world. Like, dead ass. I can't right now. But it's the fact that you have all of this on the internet, you have all of this filmed on camera, and then when you all get together, you expect it to not be talked about. It's giving when Ron was consistently inside all of these articles and shit. Like, at some point, they were like, okay, maybe you need to take a break, Ron. Because it was a lot. I'm just not understanding, because no matter if they have a come to Jesus moment, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like things always go back to this chaos. And Snooki is afraid to be friends with you because she doesn't know. Let's say she forgives you today. What's stopping you from drawing something up later? Because what is your beef with Joey? Now, let me say this actually. Because, Angelina was starting to get into why she felt that Joey may not had, been truthful to her. I needed to know her reasoning. I don't know if she had a legitimate reason, but I needed to know her reasoning. And Snooki kind of wrote that off, and she looked at Dina and she was like, you see how she makes you feel like a dick? Instead of hearing that. What happened? What is your beef with Joey? What is the basis to what you're saying? Why is it that you're coming after Joey? Do you all not get along? Was he shady to you at some point? Spill the tea. But knowing Angelina, she has no problem letting things be known and going out of her way to make it known. Prime example, being in the car. She said it twice, and then Jenny called her out. She didn't have a problem letting that be known. Why now would you have a problem letting it be known what Joey did? Hello? Make it a point then. Stand up for yourself. Because enough is enough. I'm like, girl, I can't. Constantly doing this with Angelina is exhausting. It really is. And I'm not even a cast member. Anywho, drop the tea on Joey, or drop this shit that you're talking about. Because if you don't tell us what the tea is, we gotta think you're just making this shit up. Because you've never said anything about Joey until Snooki went and told you something that Joey told her. Joey didn't tell her in spite of you. Well, but he surely didn't know that y'all were a thing prior to it. So, like, I wonder what the tea is. Joey obviously knows tea. He knew they were a thing, or whatever, or knew of each other prior to all of that. Obviously, because she was on the podcast. But I know he got more tea than that. So I'm interested to see where all of that unfolds, honestly and truthfully. Y'all, look. I think that this episode was fantastic. I thought there was obviously a lot of drama, and look, the chaos honestly makes the time go by like that. Like, honestly, I hate it, but the chaos makes a great episode. It really, really does. The chaos makes a good episode. The heartfeltness makes a good episode. Like, there are so many things that make an episode good with this show, and it has so many ranges. It doesn't have to be drama for me to think it's 10 out of 10, and that's fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the show gets to keep reinventing itself while also kind of staying true to what we know it to be. It's a perfect reinvention to me. But, something I did find interesting, and I was talking about it last week, it was the whole situation with Vinny, Sam, and Jenny. Obviously, they moved on because Vinny was like, you know what, I'm going to apologize, and I just want to move forward. Like, it really speaks to Vinny's character. But, when I saw the flashback of Jenny was kind of like, we don't monetize off our friends, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Jenny, he shared something on his story. What money do you think that he's making off of his story? His Instagram story? You think he's making money and monetizing off of that? Like, you just made that look 10 times worse. And, I commend Vinny. He's much better than me because I would have had to chew Jenny out one good time. Like, what the hell do you mean? First of all, it's very clear that you don't entirely know how this works. So, for one, before you even open your mouth, baby, I need you to think as well. Because if it was anybody else, like, I'm telling you, if that would happen to Angelina, honestly, and Jenny would have said something, I think that Angelina, while she may have still been in the wrong, I think that she would have eaten Jenny up. Because, look, Angelina can be in the wrong, but when she does spill some tea, she does be spilling some tea. And I don't think that anybody else really calls Jenny out on her shit except for Angelina, to be honest with you. So, I'm just saying, look, Jenny, you started a whole bunch of mess, and I think you need to own all of that to yourself. So, and that's kind of a thing that she tends to do sometimes. I mean, she's been better about it the last 2 seasons. She's definitely been giving customer service, which has been working out great for her. But also, it's kind of like, it's kind of popping up a little bit. But, it's not, look, these are imperfect people. We are imperfect people. And a lot of us that are watching this shit probably do the same shit that a lot of them do on TV. So it's interesting that we talk about it and it becomes a public discussion. Because it's kind of like, hello, knock, knock, knock. The call is coming from inside the fucking house. Like, hello, bitch, I know that I bring some drama. I mean, it's just kind of tea. I'm a little messy bitch, but, shit happens. But I'm obsessed because this show is definitely serving me everything that I absolutely need to serve. This episode is fantastic. We keep seeing Sam's journey, and the more that we see, the more I just feel more connected to Sam in a way that I feel like we haven't gotten to be before. When we see Jenny next week, I think we're going to get to know way more about Jenny than we ever have as well. And I'm just really excited for these personal stories that we're getting from everybody because it's really allowing the audience to relate to them on a different level and show them in a different light. Like, yeah, we're going out to the club. I mean, we're not 80. Like, we still get to have fun even in our 40s, our mid-30s. Like, there's, you know what I mean? Like, we can still have fun. And I feel like that's a great thing to show everybody. Your life isn't over. Even after you have kids and you still have your friends, you can still get together. You can still have fun. You know what I mean? Things obviously change in a different path. But, like, look, everybody was out drinking, have a good time. And Sam's doing IVF treatment. She's not really drinking, but she's still with the family. They're still having a good time. Like, and you know what I mean? It's just the range for me. It really is. But I think that's really all I have to say for this episode. It was a fantastic episode through and through. Obviously, most of it was drama, but I don't mind most of it being drama. When it gets centered specifically around Angelina, I'm just like, oh my goodness, because like I said, several podcasts in a row, anything that you really do, it opens that door for Angelina to start playing victim. And once she starts playing victim, she can find anything after that to try to make the situation worse. So, like, once she becomes the victim, any little thing that you do, even if it's something in response to her behavior, she can use that to make it a main point in order to get you to maybe apologize for whatever the case may be. And that's why a lot of people are very wary about being her friend. Like, they don't know when she's going to switch up on them or not. Like, are we good right now, or are we not going to be good next week? Are we good now, or are we not going to be good tomorrow? Like, what the fuck is going to happen? You know what I mean? It's like the situation in the van. And, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about before we wrap it up. But I do want to say that, Angelina could have listened with an intent to understand rather than to respond, because she automatically feels attacked when somebody wants to address something. You know what I mean? And obviously Jenny was frustrated for Snooki. You just did this to Snooki in the van. That's her girl. You don't play with Snooki. So the way she addressed it, I understood why she would have had the tone that she had. And it was just kind of like Angelina is very willfully deflecting when it comes to these situations. And all that does is it makes it worse because she doesn't learn from that. She doesn't grow from that. But you notice approaches like even Vinny, where he took Mike and Angelina outside, he was able to get that resolved, right? I feel like often with Angelina, it is the approach. And maybe the approach with Jenny caused Angelina to feel attacked because of the tone. But it's interesting, if roles were reversed, I think that Jenny would feel the same if that tone came to her. She'd be like, well, what the fuck? You speaking to me like that? You know what I mean? Like, it probably would instantly make you go on the defense. So, in that space of things, I understand why she probably went to the defense. But also, girl be fucking for real. Anywho, y'all. That is all I have for today. I am through talking about it until next week because I'm really excited to see that Peace episode and also to see more about Jenny. So, yeah, Polly, good try on the house. You didn't succeed, but the way that you held that up for days is kind of iconic. Nikki, you a real one for that. I love seeing you on my screen. You're my queen. Please come back every episode. I love her. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning into the That's Sowdev podcast where you stay true and you stay you. Okay? Now make sure you go ahead and follow me on all social media platforms at That's Sowdev on Twitter, Instagram, and literally everywhere else. And I will see you guys on the next podcast. Peace.